Right, 22 March 2024, and today I've got a very big number of stories to cover, and this is because it's a Friday, and normally Fridays is a big news day in Zimbabwe. There are many newspapers that come out, and we have a big story coming out of the CCC, and the CCC is the party of Nelson Chamisa. So I want to give you an update because there's been massive confusion regarding what's happening in the CCC, and specifically the actions by Amos Chibaya, who appeared suddenly and unexpectedly at the meeting of the CCC, a press conference which was addressed by Felix Mhona and Agnes Masiiwa. So a lot has happened behind the scenes, and Nelson Chamisa, from my understanding, was trying to get hold of Amos Chibaya, and Chibaya switched off his phone. So everyone was trying to get hold of Amos Chibaya after that press conference, could not get hold of him. They did not understand what was going on, and they've been trying to get hold of him. And I hope that overnight they've been able to get hold of Chibaya and find out what happened, because this situation started developing last week, according to the people that I know who are very close to the situation. When Chibaya was in Matabeleland, he caused some disruptions that side, and there was some issues within the team regarding the actions of Amos Chibaya in Matabeleland, and this continued this week, resulting in what has happened yesterday, which was a big disruption of the CCC and the big disruption of Nelson Chamisa's programs. My understanding is that Nelson Chamisa will eventually have to give a statement on the whole situation, because there has been massive confusion within the supporters of the Blue Movement. People don't know what is going to be happening now that Chibaya has done what he did, which is to go back to the CCC and give the impression that since he was campaigning for Chamisa and he went back to the CCC, it now appears as if Chamisa is in both the CCC and the new thing that is forming. And this has infuriated people. Many people are angry. And my understanding is that Ostallos was almost in tears because of what Chibaya did. They did not expect Chibaya to go back and stand there with Felix Mhona and get appointed as organizing secretary. And this is crazy stuff. What happened yesterday, it's unimaginable that Amos Chibaya would do what he did yesterday. And as I said, Ostallos was almost in tears, if not in tears, because of the situation, because now they have to redo everything that they've done. All the work that has been done over the past few months is lost because of the actions of Amos Chibaya, who inexplicably did what he did after being warned. I'm told that he was warned. People like Prince were called to that meeting. People like Ostallos were called to that meeting of the CCC, but they did not go because they are not in the CCC. And Chibaya found it right to go there after being warned, after being told not to go. He switched off his phone and made sure that he just went there and embarrassed the whole group, because what is done now is an embarrassment to the program of Nelson Chamisa. And I hope that Nelson Chamisa will disassociate himself from Chibaya and the people that do what he's doing. As I said before, if you are in parliament, if you are in CCC, if you are associating with anything that is happening in the councils, in parliament, in Senate, then you are not within the program of Nelson Chamisa. This is clear. It has been clarified that you cannot be with Chamisa and be in parliament at the same time. So I've tried to explain to people that if you see someone who's in parliament, they're not working with Chamisa. And I see people keeping on believing that whatever Mhona is doing in the Timba and all that it's something to do with Chamisa. It's not. Chamisa is not involved in everything that is happening with the CCC, with parliament. He's going to announce a new thing that is totally independent of the old group of people. Because when you talk of infiltration, I explained that you do not know who did the infiltration. So don't assume kuti you know, because the infiltration was widespread. That is why Nelson Chamisa had to leave the whole group. So I hope that this clarifies it. Chamisa is not working with Mkwananzi, is not working with Chibaya, is not working with anyone in parliament. Chamisa is forming a new thing, and that new thing, when it comes, it will be announced and everyone will know what is going on. My understanding is that ever since Chamisa left the CCC, he has only spoken to Mkwananzi one time, and Timber has been attempting to negotiate for Chamisa to come back to the CCC, and Chamisa has not given him attention. This was said yesterday when Promise Mkwananzi was asked, Kuti, did you talk to Chamisa about him coming back? He could not answer that question. So Chamisa is not going back to the CCC. What this guy is doing is trying to get the money from parliament. So what Mkwananzi and Chibaya and all that are trying to do is to put themselves in a position where they can receive the funds from parliament. That is what they're trying to do. So I hope this clarifies the whole situation. Chibaya has switched off his phone and is now with the group. Inana Mkwananzi, Agnes Gumbo, Timber, all those guys who are in parliament who are not with Nelson Chamisa. Nelson Chamisa is not going to have that group in his new thing that is forming. So I hope that one of the guys tweets. I see that Ostallos has been quiet. He didn't tweet. Chamisa has tweeted, but he didn't tweet about that. Let me show you what the tweet from Chamisa is. And this is quite disappointing to me, especially because I talk to these guys on a regular basis, and this was unexpected. What they've done is very, very unexpected, especially the team that is working on the Blue Movement. I talk to these guys on a very regular basis. So let's look at Chamisa's tweets. The environment. Recently, I witnessed the alarming extent of environmental degradation and deforestation as I drove past Murewa. This left me deeply concerned. I'm aware that sadly, this scenario isn't unique to this area alone. There's widespread issues across the whole country. So if you look at the pictures that Chamisa is sharing, he is sharing pictures of Murewa where there is some sort of digging taking place. I don't know who's digging here, but there is massive digging taking place. So look at the mountain here. That is photos taken by Chamisa here, and there is Murewa there. So you can see that he is showing you what is happening. That is on Nelson Chamisa, one of Chamisa's most watched tweets of this whole week. And you know why that is happening? People are looking to see what Chamisa is going to say about the Chibaya situation. So everyone keeps going to Chamisa's Twitter. And this tweet has had 177,000 views because people keep going to Chamisa's Twitter looking for direction. There is massive issues from what Chibaya has done. What Chibaya has done is the biggest betrayal that can ever be done to the trust that was given to him. And now I understand why Chamisa said he doesn't want to work with people from the old group. These guys, at the sight of an opportunity, they will do anything. When they get a bit of an opportunity, they will do anything. Chibaya has really disappointed a lot of people here with what he's done. So let's quickly go through the news. I've got a lot of news to go through, and I do not want to take long because I'm obviously going to be traveling again today. As I said, I'm traveling this whole 3 weeks, and my hope is that I manage to talk to someone like Trustnjo. I want to understand what's happening with the diaspora. I've said this before. The only people that Chamisa can rely on is people in the diaspora. People in the diaspora are not hungry. This crew that we have in Zimbabwe is very hungry, and they're going to betray Chamisa over and over and over again. Now let's look at the military developments in the military. Felix Mhona has had an address of the military. Mnangagwa is continuing with the politicization of the military. So Felix Mhona went over to the Zimbabwe Defense University and he addressed these guys here. This was the actual address that took place on Thursday. And they are talking about infrastructure. And what they're saying is that the Zimbabwe government has taken over from the city council of Harare, which is mismanaging. But this is not true. This is lies. So what is happening is they are sending these ministers to go and address the military commanders. And Mhona he's saying here, the city of Harare is the one that destroyed the short stretch of road that is in town. But that's not true. Every single project by Mnangagwa is not complete. So if you look at all the dams that Mnangagwa started, they're not complete. The roads are not complete. The bridges are not complete. There's no project that Mnangagwa started that is complete. The airport is not complete. So the problem that we have in Zimbabwe is not the councils. It is actually Mnangagwa and his failure to complete projects. He starts something, he doesn't complete. If you look at what is done at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, the monetary policy statement is late by 1 month. So you were supposed to present it last month. The new currency was supposed to be put in place. They've not put in place because ED does not know what to do. He does not know what to do right now, and he's not in total control of the situation. He's so much focused on politics. He does not have time to do what a president needs to do. So that is the situation with Felix Mhona at the Zimbabwe Defense University, National Defense University. He went over there on Thursday, and this thing was shown live on ZTV last night. We have another big story, which is the National Social Security Authority, NSSA. This story is in the Standard newspaper. 5 executives, including the CEO, have been fired over the past few months over the theft of almost 2 billion rands. So 2 billion rands is 180 million US dollars. So the people who are fired here include David Makwara, Agnes Masiiwa, corporate director, and then Brian Murewa and Victor Manyowa. So these are fired. The guy who's done this firing is the new chairperson, and the new chairperson is here. So this guy here is Emmanuel Fundira, is the new board chairperson, is trying to do the best that he can. But the situation at NSSA is a problem because it involves people in Mnangagwa's government. So one of the cabinet ministers, according to a report from a forensic report by AMG Global, demanded that NSSA buy him a mansion, and they did buy him a mansion. This group of managers were so bad to employees that $583,000 was paid from unfair labor practices. So you can go and look at that statement, that story in the Standard newspaper. There's also the fact that the auditors were in cahoots with management. So this is a new group of auditors. Tembas Mliswa talked about this, and this has been a long running problem at NSSA. Corruption is massive at NSSA. Let's quickly go to the next story. Fadzai Mahere and Rusty Markham. Their seats are going to be going for by-elections, and these are the people that I'm talking about who actually left their seats to be with Nelson Chamisa. These guys are going to be replaced. On Monday, there's going to be nomination court, and I'm going to post the whole. So all the pictures that I show here, I post them on gambako.com afterwards so that you can see what I'm talking about. And so on Monday, we'll see if Chamisa manages to put some independence in there, because Chamisa is going to be putting independence in all these places where there were MPs. So I want to see who is there, who they're going to put over there. Then Mnangagwa was in Lupane, and the strange thing is he went there with Scott Sakwanya. If you see the picture there in the crowd, that's Scott Sakwanya sitting over there. This is a very big problem because Scott is being accused of serious crimes. Firstly, in his constituency, that is where Pastor Messiah was killed. So I'm going to be raising this issue every single day. if you know what I mean by 365 days until Scott deals with this issue. Pastor Messiah was killed in this constituency while campaigning. The police have not investigated, and this man is walking about scot-free. He's not been questioned, and he's moving around with Mnangagwa. So this was in Lupane yesterday. At the same place was this other man. This man is Sengezo Tshabangu. You met Mnangagwa at Lupane at the same Battle of Pupu, whatever memorial, what they were sitting up there. And this is another man that is currently giving many issues to Zimbabwe's political landscape. So ED is moving around with these guys, Sengezo Tshabangu and Scott Sakwanya. But the day of reckoning is coming. These guys have to deal with the issue of Pastor Messiah. You cannot have someone dying and then there's no investigation. That's not correct. Something must be done, and people need to take the call that I made seriously last week, that this needs to be taken to the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission firstly, and if it's not taken seriously by the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, then it has to be taken outside Zimbabwe. You cannot have someone just getting killed and the people that killed him are just walking scot-free without anything happening. That should never happen again. It should be known that next time someone is killed during a campaign, there is going to be a serious problem for the perpetrators, especially when we know who are the people who did this perpetration. No one is afraid of killers. I can assure you that there are many people, even in Zimbabwe security structures, who do not want people to be killed. So there's no reason. In Zimbabwe, our culture does not allow you to kill people. So whoever is killing people during campaigns, that person is doing an alien thing and it's not allowed. So now let's quickly move to the next story. I've got so many stories, so I need to quickly move through these stories so that will keep this quite short. Henrietta Rushaya was arrested, and the details, the actual court document has been made available. This case comes from between 2021 and 2022. And what she did is that she got an investor from India called Ashok Jain. He came to Zimbabwe, and then she charged that investor 35,000. And I think this fee was to meet with Mnangagwa, because it does not explain in the papers why she was paid $35,000. She then went to India and charged the investor, Ashok Jain, $375,000 for a mine that was to be established in Zimbabwe. But after 2 years, when the investor now said, "What's happening to my mine?" she got a surveyor to say that there's no gold in the mine. It was a gold mine. However, there was actually gold in the mine. So they were trying to take his money and not give him the mine. So this is the whole case that is happening with Henrietta Rushaya. I want to actually give you a bit more background on Henrietta so that you understand. I was not handling the issue of Henrietta a lot in the past. The lawyer of Henrietta was Prophet Advocate Joshua. So Prophet Advocate Joshua is a very good lawyer. So in the last case when she was at the airport, the actual lawyer of Henrietta was Prophet Advocate Joshua. He managed to get it out. I do not think he's the lawyer now, and I don't know what they're going to do here. This is a very serious case, because what it shows is that Mnangagwa and the people around him, one, they're charging investors money for facilitation to meet, and then they're defrauding investors. Thirdly, investors are not going through ZIDA. I've explained that for things to work in Zimbabwe, investors have to go through ZIDA. They must not go to that office of Mnangagwa and the office of all the other people. The investors must go through ZIDA. And a president has got no business talking to investors. Imagine if the president of South Africa was to talk to every investor, or politicians was to talk to every investor that comes in the country. That is why things are not working in Zimbabwe. And that is a very, very bad situation. Let's quickly move on to community news. She bought the travel causer. And this young lady here, she is in H Metro today. She is in court for assault, and she beat up another young woman over clothes. Her real name is Donna Chasaya. So herself and her sisters, Evelyn Chandengenda, they were in court for beating up Precious Chigodora. You can go and have a look at that in the H Metro newspaper. Another young lady here, a musician, has bought a new car. She's in H Metro. She's called Felinandi. She bought that car that you're seeing there for a band that's in H Metro. You can go and have a look at that. I hope because with that music money, you cannot buy such a car. Then let's go to Uyumdara, Chief Charumbira. He's going to get embarrassed. He's trying to get re-elected as the PAP chairperson, and this is happening in Midrand on Monday. So Charumbira, I do not know why he wants to be the past president after the embarrassment that has caused the country. There are other people who can be nominated here. So I don't know why they're putting him as the candidate. I hope that he loses because he's embarrassed Zimbabwe and he's embarrassed Southern Africa. So I hope that they put someone else over there. My professor, Arthur Mtambara, has written a new book called Design and Control and Analysis of Control Systems. You can go and look at that at his Twitter. And Pastor Java is accusing Stuart Nyamaro, and he has threatened his family with death. He's so angry because he says Stuart Nyamaro brought down his page, his Facebook page. So Stuart Nyamaro is the guy behind all the things that you see that is happening in ZANU-PF. With Anapashin Java, he is the brains, the social media brains of ZANU-PF. And almost everything that you're seeing that is happening in Zimbabwe, social media-wise, it is done by that guy, Stuart Nyamaro. No one has ever seen the face of Stuart Nyamaro. I haven't seen Stuart Nyamaro, although I've been talking to him for over 10 years, and I've never seen his face. You'll be surprised with Stuart Nyamaro is Mnangagwa. That's crazy, right? Now let's look at another story. The best clinic in Zimbabwe, Karanda Hospital in Mandarin, is making the news because of the good work of a doctor called Dr. Tiso. So this is the best hospital in Zimbabwe. It appeared in the Mail and Guardian today. This is Dr. Tiso over there, and it's treating a lot of people. People are coming from as far as Zambia to be attended at this hospital in Karanda. It's got 150 beds. And so if you're not feeling well, if you go to this hospital here, you'll be able to get treatment. That is what they say. It's a very good hospital. It's got 150 beds. People are getting treated for all sorts of diseases over there. Then in South Africa, the billionaire Marcus Just has shot himself dead at his home. And that was after he was accused of fraud and then was fined 450 million rands. This has been ongoing for a number of years. So he shot himself dead. This is trending. You can also go and see it on gamako.com. It's a very big story in South Africa. This was unexpected. Then we look at another story very quickly. I want to look at other stories here. The Speaker of Parliament of South Africa, she is facing arrest. She's supposed to hand herself over to the police. And this is supposed to happen as soon as possible, but she's not been handing herself over to the police. So by Monday, we should see her handing herself over to the police in Pretoria for fraud. She's involved in 4 million rands bribes. She was demanding bribes from suppliers when she was the Minister of Defense. Then let's look at the issue that we started with, and then we can close. As I said, Ostallos almost broke down in tears because of the betrayal of Amos Chibaya. Chibaya was told not to go to the CCC meetings, which was called by Timba and Mkwananzi. But he went there. Not only did he go there, he got appointed as the organizing secretary over there. Chamisa was not aware of this. Chamisa does not want to be associated with the CCC or anything over there. But Chibaya did go there, and he confused everyone. There's so much confusion now about the blue and the yellow. Who is where. But Chamisa will soon give direction on that. My understanding is that Chibaya has switched off his phone, and everyone who's trying to reach him is failing to reach him. I've had calls with all the key people who are in the blue and who are in the yellow. And Chibaya was told that he should not go there. Chamisa has got nothing to do with what's happening over there in the CCC. And the guys in the CCC are doing their own thing. They're trying to get hold of that money. That money from the parliamentary, there's a parliamentary money which comes to a party with senators and councillors and MPs. That is the whole idea here. They're trying to get hold of this money. And that greed is driving people like Chibaya to flip-flop and backflip into the CCC. So it's a crazy, crazy situation. But what I know is that Chamisa is eventually going to come out with a clean setup. Chamisa is the most popular person in Zimbabwe right now. I've got no doubt that if Chamisa was to launch something, everyone will go over to Nelson Chamisa and leave this group of fortune seekers to continue what they're doing. I talked to Mkwananzi myself. He did not give me a clear answer. I asked Mkwananzi specifically, is Chamisa aware of what Chibaya did here? I asked Mkwananzi, what is the position with Chibaya, and he cannot give a clear answer. This thing that they're doing is almost a sabotage of what Chamisa is trying to do from my own point of view. So let's see what happens this weekend. There is likely going to be some activity in Bulawayo. We'll see what Ostallos is going to say. He's going to be in his constituency. My understanding is that he's going to be in his constituency with Prince Rubeko again this weekend. So let's see what they say over there on Saturday and Sunday. Now I want to look at the comments and then we'll close. As I said, today is a big news day. Also, Mnangagwa is going to be at Manije today. He's visiting Manije. And they are talking about one of the other very embarrassing projects, the Gwai-Shangani Bridge. And I can assure you that ED, when he leaves, the new guy who's going to come will have to clean up after Mnangagwa. There is a big problem with ED. ED has not finished his projects. He is just going around all over the country, but he does not do his work. So take, for example, this Lake Gwai-Shangani completion set for end of the year. That is in the Herald newspaper. Do you know that there's no single dam that has been finished? And when they finish a dam, the projects that are supposed to happen around there are not being set up. They just build the dam and they go away. Or they build the road and then after a few months, the road is now a mess. This is the legacy of ED, and this is all coming from the currency. The currency is not functional. The Zimbabwe currency, as long as it's doing what it's doing now, there's no way things are going to work. Now let's look at the comments very quickly, and I want to address a number of comments here. Right, Mkoma 1 you are saying, imagine if CCC was running Zimbabwe. Yes, Mkwana cannot run Zimbabwe, you are right, but Chamisa is going to do it. What Chamisa needs to do, so Mkoma 1, I want to address this. What Chamisa needs to do is to get himself a proper team of solid leaders around him, not these opportunistic people. So I think Hopo has said it in the past. He must stop associating himself with these people that they've got nothing in their life. If you ask them, what have you ever done? Where have you ever worked? What have you ever contributed? And it's all singing and jumping and making slogans. This reminds me of my friend Tafazwa Sambiri. He was very unpopular back in the days because he mentioned this, that the whole team around Chamisa, they are not adding value. So this is what we're seeing here. Chamisa has done part of it. He has removed a lot of dead wood. But we need people that when Chamisa is not there, we can rely on. And at the moment, these people cannot be relied on. They flip-flop and they backflip. And if you offer them money, they twerk. This is the thing that is happening right now. That's happening to CCC. The things that are happening behind the scenes, which I can tell you, which I've seen, when people are offered money, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing what's happening. When people, the sight of money just excites these guys, and they don't understand the bigger picture of what needs to be done and what Chamisa is trying to do. Mkoma Gerald is saying, who is Chamisa? It is New Canaan. Chamisa shall be betrayed again and again. Zimbabwe very bigger than opposition rule. Opposition confused and power hungry. I partly agree with you. The betrayal is going to continue until we get some solid leaders around Nelson Chamisa. And then Buju is saying, did we not tell you Chamisa cannot work with these guys ever again? You walk around about Chiti head and beat and okay, this one is not beating Ngube, right? This is Chibaya, right? Chibaya, the guy who tendered a letter of resignation to the CCC. He wrote a letter to say, I'm no longer in the CCC. You go to gambago.com and say Chibaya resigns. You see what happens. It's over there. And then Mkoma Gono is saying the story of Usha is a clear evidence that gives relevance with Al Jazeera documentary. Yes, partly. The problem is not an generator. The problem is at the top. The president's office, currently in its form, is involved in the activities that's not supposed to be involved in. The president should not be meeting individual investors because it's compromising a president. If you put someone on $300,000 and they get 35,000 to a narrator to give to Mnangagwa. That's compromising your president. You should allow your president to sit away from all these small people that are coming from all over the place. Have you Googled this guy, what he does in India? Do you know what that guy is when you bring him next to your president? So be very careful when you deal with such stories, because they're not small. Your president is eventually going to be involved in things that are criminal in nature, and narrator yourself. And for example, what's happening at the ZBC, it's all the same family, isn't it? So the fact that the family of ED and his relatives are running things around, that is what is resulting in all these things. They only come out in the open when there's a police report. So for 3 years, the guy did not report. But now that he's taken the issue to the police, it's been reported, but the police are not acting. So she was put out on bail of $50. What is that? So these are the things that I'm talking about, that this government, it's almost like a money-making machine for these guys. They're not doing anything serious in the government. And they need to be brought to stop now. They've just gone for so long. And Mnangagwa are konzerwa nzara. Too much. People are hungry in Zimbabwe because of these actions. He is not doing what needs to be done. If the currency was working and money was flowing to the country, everything was going to be fine. But he's doing all these things, and the country is collapsing to the point where adults are now being debased in their own country because of the actions of ED. These guys need to do something, and he continues to move around with thugs and gangsters. Like I was showing you earlier, that Mnangagwa was moving around with an escort. Why are you moving around someone who's under investigation when you're a president? So someone needs to ask those questions. If you're a president and someone is under investigation, tell the people around you that I don't want this person near me, because it doesn't look good. It doesn't matter if you are a president or not. You should not be associated with criminals. I won't move around with criminals. So why should the president move around with criminals? That is the thing that I'm saying here. Because next time, how are you going to deny that you're involved in such things? Let's go to Mkoma MS. Mkoma MS, you are complaining I must publish your comments. I'll publish your comments every day, Mkoma. You're saying ZEC, Judiciary, Security Services, they're all involved in fraudulent activities. I think the guys in the army are better. I don't think the army is involved in fraudulent activities. Judiciary, yes. ZEC, I can't say ZEC themselves. So let me tell you the situation in ZEC Mkoma. ZEC, they've appointed their family members. ZANU-PF has appointed their family members. So they lack independence. They've got what I call conflict of interest. The children are not really the corrupt ones. The corrupt ones are the parents. And then in ZEC, they also have people at the back who are doing the rigging. And this is obviously done by parties outside of Zimbabwe. And it's a security operation based on Mnangagwa. It's not based on the people in there. Chigumba, she is not in charge there at ZEC. That you must understand. Then in terms of the security services, the guys at the security services, they don't have money. The budget of the Zimbabwe military is very small. Upam Chinguri, what is she in the Zimbabwe defense right now? Where have you ever seen a minister like Mhona, young Kuda Mnangagwa, Agenda Janfan? Where have you ever seen people who address, those ministers addressing the soldiers, the commanders, without the Minister of Defense? It tells you what's happening there. There's no link between what's happening in defense and the actual soldiers. There are certain gangsters who are operating in this environment, and it's the same team all over. It's not a different team. And someone will eventually have to deal with this situation. The situation that we have now in Zimbabwe is deteriorating, and it needs to be addressed very, very quickly. Then, Caroline, I'm going to end with you. How can Chamisa find a proper team when himself is not proper? This good public speaker cannot run a small party. What about the nation? I do not agree with you. Chamisa is working under very difficult conditions. I would like to think that Chamisa can do very, very well. And there are many people that can work with Chamisa. The criteria is like this. It must be someone full-time. So Chamisa must not have a team that is part-time. someone full-time, someone with a track record, and someone new, someone that has never been involved in any of this CCC and MDC and all that. We need a new strong thing here, and it must be based in the diaspora. I've said this before over and over again. As long as people are going around in Zimbabwe, Masiiwa or state security, they are going to just go to them and go make an envelope, 1 million, and you don't know if Wicknell has given Chibaya in Aqua. So in Mkoma Alex and everyone in the Blue Movement ZANU-PF project, this has been said to me in the past, but I think young Ostallos is not in ZANU-PF. That is my belief. Prince Dubeko, he spent so much of his time on this Blue Movement. Chamisa has got some reliable people to work on, but it needs to be formalized. You cannot have the situation which is there now, where people are just coming from everywhere. So it needs to be a board-like structure, with reliable people, but the best of the Blue Movement should be outside of Zimbabwe. It cannot be inside Zimbabwe. And people who support Chamisa. Chamisa is the presidential candidate who is going to do very, very well. And I believe that this is where we need to start. All the other groupings, I do not believe in them. They do not have the leadership quality. Panagambona Timba addresses, I'm sorry. Come to think of it, I do not know if you guys know him, but pane day Ramagambona Timba Chiti Amira stage and address Kuti so. How can you be a president and we never seen you? All you see is your spokesperson all the time. So I do not believe Kuti this is the way to go. The current CCC, Chamisa did well to leave them. And as time is progressing, we're seeing that these guys lack leadership skills. And I particularly want to talk here about David. I had great hope that David would rise and take charge, because David would actually have been better than this crew that is there. And Murewa was actually going to be better than this crew that is there. This crew that Chibaya has joined, there is no hope of them ever becoming a leader and challenging Mnangagwa in an election. It's not possible. How can Timba challenge Mnangagwa in an election? I do not see it. It's very, very difficult for me to understand what is going on there. So that is the points I wanted to make today. As I said, it's a Friday and there's a lot of press, newspapers, but I'm not going to go through them. Please go and check out Kwayedza, H Metro, Standard newspaper, and my favorite newspaper, The Chronicle. These guys do a very good job. And obviously, there's that story, that interview with Blessed Mhlanga, which he did with Eddie Cross. I've been watching that interview, and it reveals a lot, but I don't really know what is the whole point of that interview. I think ED is in control of everything in terms of his clan, but people are getting more and more disoriented with his leadership style. ED is not finishing projects. ED is making the economy worse in Zimbabwe, and ED only cares about himself and his close relatives. That is a very, very bad problem, and I hope that that gets addressed. Okay, Mkoma Mbiwa is saying, for the first time, kukuona mu live akoma. I always watch Mapedza Kare. You never come live because you need a lirari, because I think that one benda to Garapanap. I sit here, my work is at night, and then during the day, if I get a chance, I get to sleep. And Kuma visit and say, "I Gambakwe, may you please advise Chamisa, really, we need him as a leader, as a true leader, with no need of money like this ZANU-PF corporates." Chamisa, okay, that Mnangagwa as a Gambakwe, but doesn't know every day. To a pizza Mnangagwa, tapedza Mnangagwa, tapedza Tshabangu, tapedza Tshabangu, tapedza Finance, tapedza Finance, tapedza Timba, tapedza Chibaya. Done. That's what I'm saying. You need to get people who are not lazy, and people that can articulate the vision. That is what I'm saying to Chamisa. I'm actually joking, guys. I'll never go into political position myself. Running a media house, it's one of the most satisfying things you can ever do, especially in independent media. I will never allow myself to be compromised, because I know what it means. My partner is very compromised. They cannot say anything. And if you want to see cowards, it's politicians. The biggest cowards is politicians. So if I take this picture of Scott there, let me show you what I mean when I say politicians are cowards. If I take this picture of Scott, not who is Scott, Akabata Pastor Masai, and it. If I say that, Scott knows what I'm talking about. Mnangagwa knows what I'm talking about. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. But they can't address it. These guys are cowards. If I take a picture ya ananzani manyowa akaiswa ku Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission and I display her picture at her house, she's going to feel very uncomfortable because politicians are by nature not able to do anything. They have got so many interests. And if I take picture Murewa, right? I knew Kuti Mnangagwa was not given a visa to go to America. Do you know how embarrassing it is to be denied a visa to go to America because you are corrupt and you are related to human rights abuses? This is not why these people got into politics. But slowly, they're getting compromised and they do not know why they're in these positions. So now we have to wait for them to leave. That is what is happening now. We have to wait for these people to leave office. And Mnangagwa started 4 years. Honestly, do you think someone is going to be stupid enough to kill someone from Mnangagwa who is living 4 years? So these are the kind of things I'm talking about. These people are in an even more difficult position and they're destroying everything. Whilst the good doctors like Dr. Teso in Karanda are doing the hard work, these guys that we have in our country, and ED and the team around them, they're just waiting to leave. And then once they leave, things start to move again. And Tshabangu, what is Tshabangu now? He got that senator seat, so what? So this is what I'm talking about. Chamisa is the future of our country. And what he's trying to do is to try to keep himself clean and away from all these guys. But there's a next step that needs to take place, which is to assemble a team that will take our country to the next level. There are people in our country that are so competent. So if you go to LinkedIn and type director, founder, Zimbabweans are millions and millions of Zimbabweans who are in these positions. Chamisa has got a wide group of people to pick up from, and we need a new group of people to take over, not what we have. This new group and this group of pretenders that we have in the opposition, they won't work. So I support Chamisa's decision to go alone and also to try to clean up and understand the environment before he proceeds. You see, he's taking his time, so that's good. Let's see what Chamisa says in this particular week. But I'm very happy with what's happening with Chamisa. He's doing very well, and he's going to do very, very well. Right, I think we've addressed everything, and sometimes I tend to enjoy my own voice. I tend to enjoy my own voice, especially when I say Mnangagwa auraiva nenzara. That's my favorite statement. Mnangagwa knows it. Ever since Mnangagwa came into office, he has failed to fix this economy. He has failed to fix the project that he started. He's not finishing, and his children are getting into office. His relatives are now in Reta. They are corrupt and causing all these problems, and he's moving around with the criminals who are under investigations, like Anna Scott, who are busy. Right now, he's being investigated for the murder of Pastor Masiiwa, who was campaigning in Mavuku, in his constituency. So these things are not going to go away. And we're going to be here talking about this almost on a daily basis. Now, thank you very much, everybody. And I hope that you enjoy your weekend. I'm going to be traveling again, so I might be coming in between. So this is a story, I want to stay on top of it. So today I'll try to come again later. If Chibaya tweets on it, if Ostallos tweets about it, I'll tweet on it. And thank you very much, Mkoma Willard. I really appreciate everyone and all the guys who are talking to me. There are new developments in Zephyr, very sad developments. So I want to address those on Sunday. We'll take those, and it's almost something that I don't want to talk about, but I'll see if the president of Zephyr, the Zephyr general, is going to come here on Sunday so that we can reveal to you what is happening. But it's a very dramatic situation that has taken place in Zephyr. Thank you very much, everyone, and a